everybody. Hello,
Hello.
Asaf. Hello to all our friends around the world. Hi, Julie and Patricia and Mary and Hujiko and Stacia. I see you and everybody over on the Kabbalah.info channel as well. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Great Transition. We started this show back at the beginning of the quarantine and not really understanding at the time where we were headed. Now it's becoming more and more clear. We thought we were dealing with a little virus, maybe a few months, but we started talking there about what kind of transition humanity is going through, and we are we are full swing now. 2021. There should be some. By the way, when we get this producer, if they can play some kind of moody music underneath the intro, that would be good. If you make a note about that.
Yeah.
Um, we
I I
we
I
are.
it, I should also say that I have a bad case of hiccups right now, which is
Did you
not
try drinking water while you're upside down with a
um
knife inside the cup?
it's not a very conducive thing to have for a podcast, but so I'll do more listening
Have
today.
you tried getting scared? I always wonder what professional performers do when they're on stage and then they get hiccups or diarrhea or
Uh,
have to cough in the middle of like presidential speech or something. Anyway, okay.
mm.
Well, you'll let us know later how it goes. So we're in the middle of the great transition. 2020 was quite a year. 2021 already off to an interesting start with the tech censorship of the president of the United States and all of the ensuing conversation that came after that. We're interested here in looking at the big picture. We're interested here, if we look at what's happening in the United States, feet on the ground, boots on the ground, we can have all kind of opinions from the left to the right. However, if we start zooming back out and look at the Roman Empire, the Greek Empire, the Persian Empire, the Babylonian Empire, the Egyptian Empire, we start to see patterns. If you start putting a few dots on the chart, you don't see the pattern so well. Some are down here, some are up here. But if you start charting it, lots of dots over long periods of time, you start to see a certain kind of trajectory. What we see happening in the United States now is the left getting very, very strong. And, maybe we should make a list of things that we talk about here on the show so that as they happen, um, the viewers start to understand the,
What
the,
you
the way
mean?
that
You
we
mean
think.
you mean the list of prophecies? That's
Not
what you
prof
mean?
It's not prophecies. It's not prophecies, but yeah, the list of our prophecies, although they're not prophecies at all, they're actually um, very clear to see once you start seeing. So as the left is increasing now more and more, of course, what's going to happen after that? The right is going to increase more and more and more. We're going to become more and more divided. America will be a wonderful role model to the rest of the world about what this looks like, about division, until all of these things start crumbling, until social media starts crumbling, until these things start rotting like a fruit. uh if you try and eat the fruit before it's ripe, it's a problem. And if you try and eat the fruit after it's past ripeness, it rots. However, before something new can grow, it needs to go through that rotting stage. Before a seed can sprout again, it has to go through that rotting stage. I'm looking at you, looking uncomfortable. You okay, man?
I am. I'm not that horrible, but I do have
Okay.
some.
Some
Uh,
uncomfortability over there.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. You'll have
Well,
to.
maybe you can answer with your
I'll nod
hands.
for a few minutes, and
Okay. Answer
hopefully
with,
it'll be
just
fine.
relax over there and answer with your hands. Um, when I wake up in the morning, first thing I do is I give some gratitude, and I think about people I love, and I really try and get into an emotional state uh, of that warm, not just saying words. I used to have a habit of kind of praying for everybody in the morning, but now it's more like I want to feel them. I want to feel that they should feel comfortable and good, and all that. And as soon as I'm done with this wonderful um, Exercise, the first thing I do, of course, is look at my phone. And after I look at my phone, I typically put something on, some kind of information I want to know about the world, and I get in the shower with it playing. And um, I have teenagers, although I don't do this, but I'm sure that there's people out there who do, who take the phone to the bathroom with them, and probably look at the phone uh, at the end of the day too. And if we think about how many hours a day we're looking at this thing, we're checking in on this thing. And then if we ask on the other side of the equation, like, is it making us happy? Are we happy with all of this? Um, I was talking to you a few weeks ago about some medical issue that was going on over there for you. And now I'm getting advertisements for it on Facebook. I didn't search it. I did nothing. I just spoke to you on the phone about a medical condition I had never heard of before, never Googled before, never looked up, and now I'm getting advertisements for it. My kids confirm this all the time. My younger son is showing me, this was the deodorant we were just talking about. I'm just getting ads for it now on Instagram. Or, this is the skateboarding trick we were just talking about, and now like I'm getting video suggestions for that skateboarding trick. So they're in our heads, they're in our lives, they know what we're looking at, they know how we're looking, they know what we're talking about. And I guess we agreed to it. I didn't read those terms and conditions. I just scrolled to the bottom and hit accept. If anybody here actually read all the terms and conditions, you could probably confirm that we agreed to them watching us when we go to the bathroom and listening to all of our conversations. I mean, if you and I talked about a medical condition and then I got an ad for it, does that mean they also listen to every conversation that I had with my family in the kitchen? Does that mean they listen to the argument I got in with somebody? Does that mean that they hear everything? The conversation I had with my lover, the conversation I had with my colleague, every single conversation. Does that mean that if my kids at a young age made an off-color joke, like just as kids, does that mean that at some point that comes back, and everything that you may have said to anyone at any time that could be construed as um, I don't know, negative in any way, um, comes back? So I'm not sure that all this technology is making us so happy. And what would our life be like if um, we got rid of it? I mean, what would our life be like without Twitter, without Facebook, without all these things? We would need some way to still be in touch, still be connected, but this constant connection to these things that make us feel miserable would go away. But here's the thing: the iPhone has been out for, I think, 10 years now, which is nothing in the scope of our whole lives. In the scope of humanity, it's nothing, and we see what kind of impact it's had on us. Do you remember? Just give me a shake of the head, yes or no, because I know you're getting hiccups now every few seconds. The early video games that we had here was like a ball that moves back and forth across the screen, and you would just like roll your screen up and down to bounce the ball back and forth. Did you have something
Right.
similar?
There was a game that I really loved. Was I think it was called Popcorn, or that's how just kids used to call it. I'm not sure it was the actual real name of it, but it was just like, or maybe the actual name of it was Pong. I'm not sure. Anyway, the you were just like a line, like literally like a little square, and you just have to hit the ball, and like hit all kinds of blocks that would kind of dissipate. And it was like a four color Tetris level kind of graphics.
Okay, so
Yeah,
before the four color, there was even just like
just
one
two
color.
color or one color. Yeah, sure.
Right. Okay. So
Yeah, it was
now,
black and white, then it was green, then it was like the pink version, CGA. Yeah, there you go. Here's the pink
okay,
stuff.
this is
The
already
pink and
advanced. I'm talking
turquoise,
about
that's
even before
advanced.
this.
Right,
Um,
right.
so, um, so today there is most of it comes around through these first person shooter games, like meaning I'm the person holding the gun. That's what it means, first person shooter. But with the virtual reality. So it's called, I don't remember what the system is called, but you put this thing on your eyes, and you hold these things in your hand, and your
Oculus, the
Oculus,
Oculus.
whatever it's called.
Yeah.
You're in another world. And of course, we also know that if you put enough electrodes, maybe that's what they'll come out with next. Could you imagine people putting that on their Christmas list? You put these electrodes on your head, and depending on and which, you have an app that's related to it, and I want to feel in love. And if you accumulate a certain number of points in the game, then you open up different emotions, because you can make yourself feel frightened with electrodes on your head. You can make yourself feel in love with electrodes on your head, right? By just stimulating different part of the brain, you can stimulate a near death experience. You can experience the godlike God experience, whatever they call that thing. You can experience love. You can experience fear. Now, here's another thing. We've all watched movies where we've been frightened, so frightened that that if you took a blood sample of us during the movie, you would feel adrenaline. We've all watched a movie, not you because you're not sentimental, but we've all watched Titanic, and we cried at the end, right? When he's or when he like
Mhm.
near, far, wherever you. Okay, so we've all watched movies or seen things that have made us cry, on a screen,
Yeah,
or made us scared on a screen.
sure.
So the human experience does not require a physical stimulation in
Mhm.
order to experience an emotional reality. So it's very much like we're very much circling around that whole kind of the Matrix movie. You can be plugged in, like your with electrodes and different kinds of stimulation and virtual reality. It's beyond just what you visually see,
Yeah.
right? You can also feel all of these things through different kind of stimulations, and probably that's where it'll go if this world keeps continuing.
Here's a crazy one. I read, and this is not very new. This is like maybe 2 years ago or 3 years ago. They're now working on like one of those 3D helmets, that like the Oculus thing or whatever it is, but something that wraps more of your head, and it touches your like the bones that like where the gyro of your ear is, something like that,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
it knows how, it's like a whole helmet that knows how to stimulate that, so it can really change and manipulate your sense of space and like spatial kind of feeling, gravity, that type of thing, so that can become even
Okay, so
more
here's something cool.
advanced experience.
I
Wait,
took.
wait, there's more than that. And
Okay, tell me.
with the same helmet, it also the this one's crazy. In short, you can eat like a piece of algae, which basically tastes like nothing,
Right.
and with some stimulation of the sense of smell, because most of our taste is actually smell.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
a lot.
Nice, nice,
So
nice.
by stimulating your the nose buds that you have,
Mhm.
and
Nose buds?
no, the whatever, how do you call them,
I don't know.
the
Nose buds.
smell, yeah, the your olfactory
Oh my God.
system. Okay, so by manipulating that and producing a certain kind of 3D experience of like eating a chicken or whatever, you'd be
Yeah.
tricking your mind to eating a piece of algae that tastes like rubber, that has like
Okay,
no
well, we
taste.
just we just fed
It
Africa.
just
There we
like
go. No more starving people. We just give everyone a little algae with the mask, and they could feel like they're eating a
and they can
steak.
feel whatever. Yeah, yeah.
Um,
So
when when I was a kid, we went to my parents took us to Space Mountain at Disney World. I remember because my dad put the seatbelt on so tight, I suffered the entire ride. But it was like a roller coaster, an indoor roller coaster. It was like you're on a spaceship and you go around. When I took my kids a few years ago to Universal Studios or whatever it is, they have all these new roller coasters that you don't actually go anywhere. You get in, you buckle up. There's a big screen in front of you, and it moves like you're on a roller coaster. It moves up and down, back and forth. Oh, something's happening. I see your screen. Yeah. It moves up and down, back and forth, right and left. You feel like you're going down a drop, like on a roller coaster when you feel like you're going down a drop and then you feel like you're going up, but you're not actually going anywhere.
Hmm.
So, Chris, I don't know what that thing is, what you just sent. It looks freaky as hell, but yeah, that's probably where this. So basically, what the point that we're making here, everyone, should be clear, should be painfully obvious now, that whereas maybe the more, what would we call it, Newtonian physics or something, the previous kind of perception of reality is, if I want to have sour, I need to have a lemon. I need to go source a lemon somewhere. I need to cut the
Mm-hmm.
lemon open, and then I can experience lemon, right? If I want to have the experience of falling in love, I need to find someone somehow. We need to get to know each other. We need to go. Now you don't need to go anywhere. You can
Yeah.
sit in your chair, connect all the electrodes, and feel the whole world, feel
And
all of these.
and it's very interesting conceptually what you're saying. Um, the idea of how do I get pleasure is shifting from I need to get out there and hunt for my
I
pleasure.
need to find a lemon. I need to find a
Yeah,
woman. I need to
exactly.
find whatever these things
Yeah, so
are. Right.
from this concept of going out there and hunting for your
Wow. If
pleasure,
Bill
whatever
Gates,
that
I mean,
is.
if Steve Jobs was here, I would really beat him up. I mean, what a mess he made for us, huh?
Yeah. Well, they're all messengers of the grand plan. They're
Okay.
it's all part of human evolution. But we're moving to a new concept of, in order to attain pleasure, you need to manipulate yourself, your own perception. You need to redesign the way in which you perceive the world in order to experience something new. And that, I think, is great. That takes human beings to this whole virtual reality, the internet, and this virtual age that we're in is gradually, slightly, but still so detaching us little by little by little from our from being entrenched in materialism, from being glued to the classic, like you said, Newtonian consciousness, so to speak, that we are in a body and we are these groups of molecules and neurons, and that's all that we are. And we have these five senses, and that's the world. Everything that we see through our five senses, that is the world. This is reality. What's happening is what you feel in your flesh, and when this body dies, none of it, everything's gone, and it's all dead, and it's all done. And that's reality. We're gradually kind of expanding our horizon thanks to these virtual realities, virtual technologies. We're going into a bit of a more, a more non-material conception of what it means to be human. If kids today spend, what is it? I think the statistics talk about 10 hours on average, 12 hours on average on their screen,
Mhm.
average, right? So if kids today spend that amount of time living their their virtual digital avatars, living their digital life,
Mhm.
and that's now when the technology is still like, just
10
like
years old only.
exactly 10 years old. We're still just like buh, like, looking at this featureless kind of brick. What happens when it goes into, like, all these masks that we're talking about for 3D immersive experiences? They merge with your eyes with little, unseen technology that doesn't make you weird from, wearing it all the time, and flip, with just doing, like, you swipe whatever, your finger or something like that, and you're completely immersed in a 3D virtual photorealistic environment where you can be someone else who feels different, looks different, behaves differently. This, it
Here's
comes
let
down.
me throw another piece on. Let me
Yeah.
throw another piece onto it. You've heard of deep fake, right? deep
Sure.
fake. It got famous because they took like a celebrity's face and put it on someone else's body for like a porno movie or something. So with deep fake, you can take, for example, Donald Trump, an avatar of Donald Trump looks like Donald Trump. Basically, you only need, Chris, you probably find this story. You only need, for example, 20 minutes of a person speaking or less. And with that, you can construct you can have them say any word. So you can, I'm sure this is probably done in other countries. For example, say there's some country that's an enemy of the United States. Oh, let's say the United States, for example. We're in the United States,
Mm,
and you can say there's some country that we need good reason to go to war with them. You make a video of their leader giving a speech about how he says he's planning to nuke America next week, right? And then distribute that. And of course, now, since we only have one source of information because the other side has been silenced, and that's not, by the way, I'm not saying that under my breath as some kind of Republican Democrat thing. I'm just
partisan
saying,
thing. Yeah, sure.
yeah, no, I'm just saying that we don't have, the media has been bought. So for better or for worse, we're really only getting we're not getting an objective story. We're getting one side of the story. Even if the other side is lunatic, you think, or whatever else, we're really just getting one side of the story. So if whoever's in power decides that this is the right thing to do and they do a deep fake on us,
Hmm.
show us some video of some leader, right? Or what about this? What about show a picture of President Trump saying, in whatever you want. The point is that once this, and this must be very, very close to happening. I'm surprised we're not seeing it more and more already. You
Hmm.
can take a video of Seth, right? Make this exact show, make a clip of Seth, but make me saying something totally racist or whatever it is, and just send it out there and just destroy a person
Right.
like this. So basically, what we're saying now, and there's how would you counter that? So we're talking about now a complete digital kind of reality in a sense, which begs the question, are we living in some kind of digital simulation now
Oh,
already?
okay, okay. So there was an article that sparked this whole topic that I wanted to bring up here. Okay. Let's take a look at this. So here is what sparked my interest in this. So kids on TikTok are convinced we're living in a simulation, right? I think I put that in the title of our stream
Yeah,
today as
yeah.
well.
And my kids showed me this a few weeks ago already.
Right. Yeah, no, this is from the end of last month, December 23rd. So, what happened was that there are kids on TikTok. I went and I looked at some of these kids on TikTok. There are some links in this article, and then it's from there you go into a
So
rabbit
just
hole.
to be clear, these
And
these are kids who are not only being spied on by United States companies, but also by Chinese government companies, right?
right, that's besides the point.
Okay, just wanted to
But
be clear. Okay, so
yeah,
not there's two world governments listening to all of our conversations in our home. Okay, just putting that on the table. Okay, as you were
right.
saying,
So anyway, these kids are really interested in the simulation hypothesis, in this question, this grand question: are we living in a simulation? It's very interesting to them, and you know what? I gotta say, I wasn't ready for that. Besides reading the article, I went into the rabbit hole. The moment there's some links in the article, and the moment you go into one, it's immediately you see many others, and then you see kids. They're I don't know, somewhere between 12 and 17, something like that. 12 and 16, maybe something like that, speaking about their fascination and their how persuaded they are that we live in a simulation. And the first thing that got me about this was, first of all, that um, it's um, um, it's refreshing. It's so refreshing. I thought, I thought
it's so
that
refreshing to know that we're just ones and zeros living inside of a
No,
total.
it's refreshing to
Oh, okay,
see.
okay. I
It's
thought you meant it was
refreshing to
refreshing.
see that the kids of today are asking meaningful questions about their existence, and they're interested
Nice.
in
Yeah, there you go.
alternative explanations to what this life is really about. What the heck is happening here? What are we? Are we what we think we are? And they're fascinated with that. And you watch some of these videos. You watch some of these videos and you go, you know what? I If you thought that all there is to TikTok and all those, definitely there's no doubt that these commercial
Well, there's some
products,
upsides to the
they
Chinese government spying on our kids. No, really, there
and
is.
not just, yeah, right, and but not just that, it's clearly these apps, they produce addiction, and they pollute the minds of
In
the
addition to
adults
the
and the youth.
spying and the
but
addiction.
but still, it's beautiful to me. It's refreshing, as I said, to see that kids are, they're debating in a serious way, bringing up serious questions about the nature of existence, and our perception of reality, and the purpose of this existence. And they're interested in something like the simulation hypothesis, and that was very cool to see. And I think that just kind of shows that there's hope in a sense. Now, it shows that there is a new desire, a new layer of desire, a new level of desire that is brewing in those kids. That the younger generation is, maybe they're not that hyped about going out there into the world and making it like our parents did, and owning a business, and making a lot of money, and being, maybe that's not what they're about, but they are more inclined
Well,
towards
that's good for them
meaning and
because those things aren't
purpose.
going to
Yeah.
be those things aren't going to those things are kind of crumbling.
Yeah.
The economic system, the social system, the monetary system, the education system, the political system. These things are all rotting. So it's good news that the kids aren't putting their hopes in these things.
And it's even better news if they're actually looking for not just for an alternative kind of existence, an alternative kind of purpose and meaning to life. So it's not just that they're not interested in the old plan of how to live a life on this earth, but they are potentially also interested in what else may be there beyond the horizon of what we currently know. What else can life take us to? Is there something deeper, more profound, beyond this material experience? And I think what you see through their interest in this simulation hypothesis is a little bit of that. That was really refreshing. That was really cool. I watched, again, I watched some of these videos, and it was very refreshing. So you want to talk about the whether they're right or not, though? Are we living in a simulation or not? You want to get into
Mm,
that? That's what you wanted
we
to.
have do we have 2 hours to discuss it, or at least? Uh,
Oh.
well, my older son is always not always when we talk about it, when we bring it up, he's like, there's billions of galaxies and billions of stars in every galaxy, and there's supposed to be planets around each star, which would mean there's billions and hundreds of billions
Mm-hmm.
of planets. It's just it doesn't make any sense that we're the only one, that this is all that's going on here. um, and then with all of this digital kind of stuff, it really, we spend so much of our life dealing with our straight up animal needs.
Mm-hmm.
um, but I guess for the kids that kind of goes away more, right? They're not going to spend their lives in rush hour traffic. They're not going to spend their lives like going to get their morning coffee on the way to sit on their butts in an office all day long. They have everything in the palm of their hand, or like zapped into their eyes or whatever. So they will have more time to, and will free up their minds and they'll free up some bandwidth to start contemplating these things. I guess you can go back to like there's a really great TED talk about the invention of the washing machine, the clothes washer, the machine that washes the clothes.
Didn't
This
watch this
guy,
one.
unbelievable statistician, I
What?
think he
What?
is
Tell me about it.
Hans something. Yeah, wow, what a this guy looks at big sets of numbers and describes how humanity develops. It's beautiful. But he
Mm,
describes how the washing machine is like one of the most important inventions for humanity. And
right.
he says that women spent, I don't know, a ridiculous amount of time washing the clothes, fetching the water and washing the clothes. And in places where they got the washing machine finally, literacy goes up.
Right.
And then they have time to be with the kids and all these other things. Um, So a simple invention like you spent, I don't know, 30% of your week fetching water and washing clothes, or now all of a sudden all of that time becomes available to you again. If you don't need to do that, if you were out hunting, right? You need all of that extra time. Now you get all of that time back in your life. So
Hmm.
as we move into this modern culture, like I don't know how many people here do this and outside of the US if it's common, but like ordering your groceries, even. You can order your groceries to come to your house. You don't have to go out. It's a couple hours of your time. Just more and more, we're getting time back. So, what are we going to do with all of this time? And now we're able to think about other things. Now we're able to engage in other things. And our kids, our young kids, are asking about the nature of reality. That's phenomenal. That
Yeah.
is phenomenal. I mean,
Yeah.
the fact that they're like not outside playing in the dirt, that sucks. The fact that they're maybe not running around as much, okay, that sucks. The fact that they're not all playing with each other after school and riding their bikes around, and the fact that they're
And
playing murder video games all the day,
and
that
look,
sucks. But
this is a generation that has a completely different conception, notion, and understanding and feeling of social life as well. For them, socialization and socializing is something very different. Very different from from yours. You know what I mean? Like the everything is different. Because of this digital age. But yeah, but the simulation hypothesis is maybe maybe we should.
okay, so this is what the kids are now looking at their life and understanding that most of the perception of their reality is coming through these screens, and they're asking questions about it, like what
Yeah.
what world am I perceiving? Who is feeding me this world? Where am I in this
Hmm.
world? What is my significance in this world? Okay, so we probably need to peel the emotions off this and kind of separate this into two different things. There's one is like, what is my experience of this whole thing? And the other is just pragmatically looking at, is it real? And,
I think
heard.
what's cool about the simulation hypothesis is that there's a lot of really meaningful questions that you have to ask as soon as you bring up the idea that we're living in some simulation. You have to ask together with it, so what's the purpose of the simulation? Who created the simulation? Does a simulation necessitate a higher level of being that created the simulation? It has to be smarter than the simulation that it created. There are what is it that we're actually seeing, and what actually are we if we are living in a simulation? There's all those questions that are they're like sitting dormant in all of humanity for thousands of years. Since the moment a human being began to think, we've had these questions about the meaning and purpose of life. It's not for no reason that thousands of years ago, the Greek philosophers asked all these questions about the meaning and purpose of life, and they were mostly asking and theorizing and asking and theorizing. But I'm saying that it's like the question of who are we, what are we doing here, what is our purpose, what is our meaning, it keeps coming back to humanity in different forms. And maybe now, with this generation that is completely living a less material and more digital kind of life, a life where, the future of the current world is doesn't seem appealing to them. Maybe that's where that kind of signifies where humanity is finally going to actually seriously deal with these questions. This, here's an interesting thing. I studied like 2 years of philosophy many years ago, like as a kind of a special program in high school kind of thing as a teenager. So that was even before I knew about the wisdom of Kabbalah. And there's this famous, maybe you're familiar with the cave allegory, the Plato's cave allegory.
May have been sleeping through that class, so just bring
Yeah,
me back up
okay.
to
So
speed.
this is essentially simulation theory for thousands of years ago. It's the same thing. It's the same concept, just without the idea of a digital simulation that's being designed and that we're living in. But the idea, the cave allegory, long story short, is that that we might be like people who are living in a cave, and we're like prisoners, so we're chained and we can only see forward, we don't see backwards. Behind us there's a fire, and there are people who are holding puppets, and so what we see on the wall of the cave is the shadows of the puppets of the real thing. So for us to understand what reality is we'd have to break out of the shackles, understand there is a reflection of the fire, the shadows from the fire that is showing everything that we were seeing, go out of the cave, go out into the sun, and actually see the true reality. And so, later on, when you start studying the authentic wisdom of Kabbalah, you understand where Plato
Yeah.
and
When
others
when you
got
start
got these
studying the what?
ideas. When you study the authentic
You said
wisdom
it too
of Kabbalah,
fast and too.
I'm sorry, that was swallowed it. The when you
No, no.
when you start studying the authentic wisdom of
Don't say it.
Kabbalah,
Don't say it. Don't say it.
you understand where Plato got these ideas from. But anyway, the idea that we are not experiencing the true reality is something that is not new. The advent of technology and gaming technologies and AI just puts that all of a sudden in our face. Because if we, within 40 years or 50 years, we went from that popcorn game or Pong or whatever, where it's two colors and just a line. If in 40
Less than
years,
50.
less than
Yeah.
50 years, we went to 3D photorealistic immersive environments that occupy pretty much soon all your senses, and every year it's getting better, it's getting more immersive and more indistinguishable from real life. That makes you wonder, okay, so if you assume the same rate of progress of these technologies, what happens in 100 years? What happens in even less? What happens in 100 years? So clearly we will be creating indistinguishable realities, virtual realities that are indistinguishable from this reality, which makes you
Hmm.
wonder who said we're not doing it already? And you're not already in a simulated reality by humans that have done this before you, or whatever, some other creatures or someone else. We're gonna get there in 100 years, let's say, or whatever. So who said we're not already in one? And then statistically, the probability is that you are more likely to be in a simulation right now, statistically speaking, than that you are in some base reality, the true and actual one reality. So definitely it's possible. It's definitely possible that we're living in a simulation. But
Okay, and suppose it
yeah,
is. Why do I care?
okay, because immediately the big can of worms that you open up with it is, are we free? Do we have free choice? Is there a purpose to the simulation? What's the meaning of our existence if our existence is a simulation? What kind of things happen to you in outside of the simulation? Now, look, you could say I don't care. You could say I don't care, but I think that every person cares. It is embedded into the very structure, like the atomic structure of human desire. We are designed to question our existence. We're the only creature that does that. And every kid, every child at the age, and this is why it's interesting that with our kids and everything, but every child at the age of 5, 6, something like that, when you start being aware of yourself, the environment, and what's happening here, and you have a certain cognitive capacity to think, you start thinking, what's going on in the world now? Some people ask it more, in a on a in more intensely. Other people ask it more subconsciously, but it's there. It's not for no reason that kids ask their parents, "Mommy, why are we here? Why do we live? What's going on?" It's just that in our society, in our culture, we
Not just ours, and
immediately, everywhere,
basically all.
everywhere, yeah, everywhere, people, we don't have
Nobody
the
has
answer.
answers. No, nobody
so
has
so
answers.
we shut it up. We shut it down.
Either
We
we shut it up or we come up with a story.
or we come up with a story, sure, but one way or another, we are repressing the need to explore and get to an actual, tangible, real attainment
Okay,
of the answer.
we're not here. We're not here. So we are not doing that. We're not repressing it. We're diving headfirst into
Yeah.
this full speed ahead to understand. That is a big bottle of water. We're headed. We're
I agree.
we are
I gotta
we
drink a
are
lot of
going.
water. It's all I'm
We
drinking
are
right now. There's no coffee, no tea, no nothing, just water. Yeah.
okay. For this and other health tips, stay tuned for. No, I'm just kidding. We're we're not here. Okay, it's very true that throughout history, everyone wants to know what happens after I die, and so they ask these questions and they come up with religions or myths or stories. It was a certain god, it was a certain planet, it was a certain this, or it was a certain that, and then whatever we don't know, we kind of just push it down the road or under the rug, because if we had to actually deal with these questions on a regular basis, it would be better to be dead, because we don't have any answers for them. We don't have any answers for why we suffer. So we just hope for dinner, hope for the next paycheck,
Right.
hope for the next time I can go to the bathroom and check my Instagram feed, and just to get me over the next little hurdle. Asaf, if we went back a few thousand years, we were
I, I just I just read something funny. The
what?
Julie, did you see what Julie wrote in the chat? That's a funny one.
No,
She
what?
said
What?
I had a dream with you guys in it. I was having a discussion about food with Seth, and my family showed up in an RV to meet us up. That's a fun one.
uh,
Yeah.
okay. Yes, Kevin Asaf is drinking vodka. That's what it is. And also, I saw early. I think Ahmed was asking if we see him from Libya. Yes, Ahmed, we see you. Hello from Libya. Very happy that you're with us. Okay. Okay, Asaf, uh, if we were cave men, uh, back in the cave,
Sure.
and somebody showed us an airplane, right? And an airplane flew overhead. We wouldn't have any context for the airplane, right? We don't know what manufacturing is. We don't know what jet fuel is. We don't know what an airport is. We don't know anything. So to us, it's some kind of bird or
Yeah.
some kind of weird thing, but it's I don't know, maybe it's some kind of star that's moving across. But we don't have any kind of concept that it originated somewhere. Everyone put on their seatbelts. It took off into the air. Inside, it kind of smells a little funky. They give you some bad snacks. It goes somewhere. It lands right. There's no concept at all about what that thing is. And the only way to manage that is
Mm,
either not see it at all, which happens a lot. And well, we should actually do a whole show on about perception of reality like that. We would just not see it because there's no reference for it in our consciousness, or we would see it and we would relate it to something that we already know, a bird or some kind of, I don't know, a rock flying through the air or some shiny star or whatever. Okay. So today, that's clear. Today, let's imagine we're those same cave people. And what we are talking about, simulation theory or whatever our next step is like that airplane, meaning we're
mm.
starting to see something without any language to understand what we're seeing, without any context of where it took off from, what's happening inside of it, and where it's going. So we're those cave people looking at an airplane now, because the thing that we're
Mm.
talking about, we
Oh,
don't
I see
have.
what you're saying. Nice. Yeah, you mean when we consider when we look at something like the simulation hypothesis suddenly becoming like, something that might be real. We don't
We're
have
cave people. We're cave
right.
people being like, well, it's some kind of bird that doesn't have to flap its wings. Maybe it's some kind of star that comes during the daytime.
Okay, 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 okay.
Even
But
the
wait,
way
wait.
that we frame it.
I agree. I agree. But in what respect are we cavemen? Because it may
No, no,
that
I'm just talking about the
example.
relative perception situation.
Sure, sure. It may sound like you're saying, we're cavemen in the sense that when our technology is still
No, no, no.
rudimentary.
What I'm saying is
So
like
explain.
kitten is to cat as puppy is to dog. I'm just
So
saying like caveman is to airplane as we are, now towards what we're
okay,
talking
how do we
meaning.
come out right? Let's
Okay, that's
complete
what.
let's
Okay,
complete the
ask the question.
analogy.
Ask me, ask me, ask me.
How do we, yeah, complete the analogy for me, please. What does it mean for us to come out of the cave?
Okay, so
What will
if we have.
expand, let me expand the question. What will expand our perception of reality? What will enable us to solve this riddle of what reality we are in, where we actually exist? What does it mean to evolve
Very
to that?
nice.
Yeah, what is it?
Okay, so if we go back to caveman guy and he gives us 100 years or a few hundred years to explain to him what's happening, we can explain to caveman guy very clearly. Well, first, a bunch of algae died on the bottom of the ocean. Then we drilled it up and we refined it and we turned it into fuel. And then we broke down some mountains and we ored this metal and we made some metal and we welded it together and we made a plane,
And
right? We
then
could go
yada
through the
yada yada,
whole process. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Obama,
We put
and then
peanuts,
we're
Obama. We put peanuts in a small bag and small little alcohol bottles. So cute. And you can have them on the plane. You can't take your water on board, but you can have these little alcohol. We could explain everything. And eventually,
okay,
caveman will be like, ah,
okay,
now when he sees it in the sky, he understands what it is. Now he's got to go tell all of his townspeople, his caves people, what it is. And, maybe he does a good job explaining, maybe he doesn't. But we did our job because we're already from the future. We understand how it happened. To us, it's very matter of fact. For him, now he understands. So now kitten is to cat as puppy is to dog. So now take that same analogy to us today. Okay, we
mhm,
are now looking at some airplane in the sky, meaning we're now looking at this simulation theory, or we're looking at whatever this unknown future is ahead of us, and we need someone to come from the future and
mm,
explain to us how the whole thing works. We don't, because it's already known. The answers are known. We are just in caveman shoes, and so we don't perceive it from caveman shoes. But if someone came to us from the future and explained to us what the airplane is, it's not magic anymore. It's clear how there's a big metal thing flying in the sky. And it's also not magic anymore that the whole world we're living in, everybody, The whole world we're living in is just a dream. We just need somebody to come from the future and tell us about it and tell us why. And then we don't have to be confused to think it's some kind of bird who doesn't flap its wings, or we don't have to think that it's some kind of star that comes out in the daytime. We know, we would understand what kind of reality we're living in, and then we can start to orient ourselves in relation to it.
I'm gonna try to take it another step. Okay,
Go.
the to come out of the cave, to come out of the cave means that we need to develop a new sense of perception. We, just like how we're discovering now that, what we talked about, that we're kind of shifting from going out and hunting for what we need to recognizing that what we need is to redesign ourselves in order to experience a different reality. This is something that the virtual world helps us see. That's the trajectory that we need to evolve on. We need to continue to understand what kind of change we have to go through to better understand nature. The reason that we don't understand why we're where we are, why are we here, what's the purpose of this existence, are we in a simulation or not, what exactly is happening here, is because we don't have a synchrony with the natural program that governs all of life. See, we
Hold on, you're getting a
are.
little more confusing. I thought we were just going to get the guy from the future to come and just tell us what's up. What are you saying, actually, to be
I'm
clear
saying
here?
what the guy from the future would tell you.
Okay, tell us
So the guy from the future
as
would
clearly
would
as possible.
would tell. I don't know if clearly is already a different.
No, no, you have to make it clear. You know who you're dealing with here. I'm not so
I
intelligent.
think the guy from the future would say would say to solve all. You can't dumb down this whole thing into one tweet, but I'll try.
That's what I
The
want.
the the guy would say, um, in order to solve the riddle of where you are, where you exist, what is the nature of the true reality, you have to connect with it. You have to connect with the quality or the code or the force or the laws that govern the program that you are in. And the
Hold on,
qualities
hold on, hold on,
of.
hold on, hold on. You're getting really esoteric, and I'm not sure.
I can make it more story like for you, but that would be very metaphorical. So it's like the programmer from the simulation comes
Yeah,
and says, if you want to understand the simulation, you got to
yeah.
understand you got to understand the mind of the programmer.
What I'm trying to do here, what I'm creating
Exactly.
here.
Exactly. And my whole thing is to bring you from complete separation to complete connection, from complete disconnection with me and with each with between yourselves. You're going to discover that you're one thing, and that that we're doing this thing together, you and I, and that we're
Okay, but hold on, hold
partners,
on. You
that
you
we're
need you
actually
need to
partners. You wanted
you
a
need to
metaphor,
build
you
that
wanted
up. No, no,
story.
I
Hmm.
do, but you need to build it up in a much more dramatic way. You need to really draw me into the story, because when you say it like that, it's like, oh, I'm gonna connect. We're gonna have a pic. The world's gonna change, and we're gonna have some magical kind of government, and everyone's gonna be able to
Mm.
have a picnic, and we're gonna just barbecue all the time and kick the soccer ball around and go to the beach and play. Like,
Well,
but what we were actually talking about is a perception of reality beyond time, space, and motion. You're talking about traversing the whole of existence in an instant. You're talking about knowing reality from the beginning to the end. So when you were giving me your explanation, I sounded to me like we're going to just have a really cool family reunion. But
well,
it's
That too. Why not? um, in short, kids today
In short, is Facebook listening to our conversation? I'm just kidding.
is Facebook. Yeah, kids today are thinking about some meaningful stuff. It's good. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. You got a song for us?
I
Julie
have a
says,
song.
"From Seth's mouth to God's ears, picnic." Yes. Oh man. Yeah.
um,
No, I think. Look, I'm still happy with this thing because look, while the adults are, so to speak, the adults are having this craziness in the world, and the president of the US is creating all this drama, and people are this is serious business. There's violence happening. There's a I'd say a threat of a civil war in your country. There's chaos in my country. There's uncertainty in most of the world. There's a global pandemic that we still, are it didn't come to a
oh my
resolution
God, I forgot
to.
about the global
And yeah,
pandemic.
and while all this craziness is taking place in the world, our kids, not all of them, some of them, but some of the kids are starting to think maybe all of this is something else completely. Maybe
Mm,
all of what is
way to go,
happening right
kids.
now is actually just a dream that we need to wake up from, just a simulation that we need to get out of, just some kind of an illusion that is not the real thing. And that is, you may say, childish, if you're a straight thinking kind of person. You may say dreamy, even, hallucinatory, but it's not. It's not. It is visionary, yes, but it is the only way to actually redesign our world. We have to discover that that our world can be re-envisioned. We have to understand that we are creatures of mind and heart, and when we change these things, our minds and our hearts, when we change ourselves, then we can experience a different reality. It's not going to work trying to get more guns, or more weapons, or to refuel the economy with more money, even though that this pandemic is halting everything. It's not gonna work to try to once again go with this side against the other side for another 4 years and shut up these guys who I don't like and silence that. It's not gonna work. We're gonna have to wake up to a new reality where we are something else, where we are not separated protein based bodies that are hateful towards each other. We're gonna have to discover, it's not gonna be just a reunion, oh, let's have a picnic. That may be one of the great side effects, but we're gonna have to go through an evolution of the human psyche here. This is gonna take some work and effort, and work, but a different kind of work, not working on building buildings with metal and building cars or designing robots. We're gonna have to work on ourselves. That's the actual work of the human. It's not gonna be just a walk in the park. We're in the great transition here. But after the great transition, or as we go in there, then man, we might have some picnics as well. Why not, man? Sounds good to me. All right, man. Who was with us today? Do you have
Okay.
like
So yeah. So Ahmed, thank you. It was great to have you from Libya, and all of our friends from New York and Colorado and Dallas, Texas, and the Netherlands and Minnesota and Florida and Brazil and
all
Bangalore,
right?
India and Spain and Quebec and Africa and everyone. We're looking. the
Bangladesh
great
too. Bangladesh as well.
Bangladesh. Wow,
Yes.
that's so cool. We're looking. We have opened the Great
Denmark.
Transition.
Yeah.
Okay, we have opened the Great Transition YouTube page here. So if you are somewhere else, we didn't see, thank you so much for being with us. We didn't see your comments. If you want to make comments during the show, please come over here to the Great Transition YouTube page, and so that we can see your comments during the show.
That's right, and we're also going live twice a week. If you don't know that, so if you want to catch us all our shows and also the clips that we post between the shows, then go to the Great Transition channel. Yeah, man. Yeah,
Okay,
this is what's
so
happening. Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern will be our next broadcasts.
yeah,
So,
we need to talk about this person coming from the future and
okay.
telling us what's going to be. So stay tuned to the Great Transition, everybody. Here's a clue. Here's a clue that the answers that we need, the answers that we're looking for this new world, do not enter through our ears. We'll feel them, and this is what Asaf was hinting at before about this connection. That when we start to make these human connections together, we start to perceive a reality in a different way. We're going to open it all up together. We're going to be with you hand in hand all the way through all of these challenging times. Be strong, be full of joy that regardless of what's happening, we have some answers. We have a path. We have a method. We have a path to go together in love and in good connection. Big hug to everybody, and we will see you Sunday, 2 p.m.
What am I? Learn what they know. Just a child, I learned by watching you. I need you to show me something good. Show me how. Do it without you. We're not waiting for something to happen. We determine what will happen. We're not waiting for something to happen. We determine what will happen. To belong, to come here as a friend. The light is strong to touch our soul at last. I need you to show me something good. Show me how. Can't do it without you. We're not waiting for something to happen. We determine